Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Thunder Today YouTube channel. I am your host, Dylan Hibbard, and in today's video, we are going to be going over some recent videos, kind of showing J-Dub shooting with that left hand just because of his injury with his wrist on his right hand. He's been shooting more with his left. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about which of the Eastern Conference team would give the Thunder the most trouble if they were to match up in the finals, if it were to happen in 2026. We'll talk about a Thunder preseason fact and kind of something that's going on in preseason, and then we'll talk about Shai and his MVP rankings for the upcoming season. But first off, videos have obviously come out of J-Dub and shoot around and all that, just him shooting in the offseason. And we've seen obviously that wrist injury that he had throughout the playoffs that we found out after the finals when he had that 40-point performance on a hurt wrist. It was on his right wrist. So recently in this offseason, he's been seen on a lot of videos shooting with his left hand, and it's kind of brought people to talk about if we could see J-Dub start to finish with his left hand a bit more, and that would be something interesting to see because that allows you to not kind of take away the weak side when opponents kind of want to force you one way. If you're able to finish just as good with your left as you are your right, that's not going to matter to an opponent, and it's going to make it so much harder to guard you, which it already is because you're already a top 15, 20 player in the league. So for J-Dub, it's just continuing to get that left hand strong. Maybe you go out there and start finishing with your left hand more. That adds just another thing to your repertoire of skills in your bag that you can go to at any point in a game and just really keep defenders on their toes, because with J-Dub, if he can continue to shoot well from three, maybe get that mid-range going, being able to finish with the right and left, and being able to finish with authority like he does and be able to put somebody on a poster, it's going to make him that much better. And just to see this, it should really excite some OKC fans. Not necessarily that it's going to be something that we're going to see every day, and maybe it's not even anything big news-wise, but it's still just something to kind of look at because, I mean, if he's going to have quite a bit of the offseason to kind of just work on that left hand, get that left-handed game going, why not try to use it in certain situations? If you're starting to feel comfortable with it, use it in games where maybe you are facing one of those worst Eastern Conference teams and you're up by maybe 20 at some point in the third quarter. Maybe you want to get a few tries at that. You go at that. So just something to kind of keep your eye on for Thunder fans. Just kind of keep your eye out on that. Maybe we see J-Dub start to use that left hand more, and it just adds to that bag that he has built up so well. But we'll transition now into a topic of which Eastern Conference teams will give the Thunder the most trouble, and or if they were to meet in the finals, who would the Thunder have the best matchup with, because the Thunder went 29-1 last season against the East, the one loss being to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and most people, including myself, think it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, but you're going to hear people all next season long talk about the Knicks. Or the Knicks will be able to revamp. Are they going to be able to go out there with a weak Eastern Conference and take down the Cavs like they did and go to the NBA Finals? It's very well could happen. Then you have teams like a possible Orlando Magic if Paolo Banchero takes a jump. And guys like Franz Wagner continue to improve and get to all-star level caliber. You have the Pistons and like that, and you're still going to have, even with the Celtics, we're going to see if Jaylen Brown can make that team good. We'll see what Giannis is able to do in Milwaukee. So just something to kind of continually keep your eye on for the East side of things. And I still think it's the Cavs. I think just from top to bottom, they're going to be the best team in the Eastern Conference. Now come playoff time, that might switch with the Knicks just because the Knicks have proven that they can take down the Cavs and teams like that. But for me, just against the Thunder, you have your double bigs in Mobley and Allen that would be able to compete with a Chet and Hartenstein with just pure size and athleticism. And then you have your guard that is a score-first guard in Shai and Mitchell. And then you have the sidekicks in Garland and J-Dub. And then that kind of puts you at where your matchup of the Lou Dort and then the Thunder's bench versus the Cavs bench and Georges Niang, guys like that, Isaac Okoro, guys like that. They would just be a matchup, I feel like, where it would just go kind of such similar play styles. You have benches, you have great head coaches, you have the guards, you have the bigs, and I think it would be, I think out of any Eastern Conference team, I think they would give you the most trouble. So just from a standpoint of that, I just don't think the Knicks have the bench. I think the Thunder are so deep that to be able to beat them, you have to have a deep bench where you can go 8-9 guys deep, because that's what the Thunder are able to do, and their 8-9 guys are all high, very good quality role players that are coming off the bench. And if you have a team like the Knicks, or this past season in the second round the Nuggets, where you're top heavy, where your stars are having to play 48 minutes, the Thunder are going to wear you down come fourth quarter time. Their starters are going to be a lot more fresh than you, and they're just going to out-hustle you. That's when they start getting steals, getting out in transition, and before you know it, the Thunder are up by 20 with 5 minutes left in the game, and the game's over. People will obviously say that the Knicks are used to that because they play 48 minutes throughout the entire season, but just the way the Thunder play, they're so young and athletic, the Knicks would not be able to do that for a 7-game series, so that's why I lean the way of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But transitioning now into some OKC preseason news, just letting you guys know that this is the first time in, I believe, 6 years that an OKC preseason game will not be in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So for people that are around the Tulsa area or in the Oklahoma area who like to go watch the Thunder at the BOK in Tulsa, there will be no preseason Thunder action at the BOK this season. We're not sure why that is, but just not going to happen. The Thunder will end up being on the road 4 out of the 6 preseason games, and then their 2 games will be at home at their center in the Paycom. So no games in Tulsa this season for the Thunder in this upcoming preseason, for all the folks around that area or who are so used to that they were relying on it, that they will not be in Tulsa for this upcoming preseason. But in other good news for Shai, the kind of new MVP power rankings and betting odds came out, and Shai is the MVP favorite for the upcoming season. Guys like Luka, Jokic, obviously Giannis are right behind him, but I feel like this is going to be one of those betting odds that just change all year depending on a week-to-week basis who's playing best out of Jokic, Shai, Giannis, and Luka, and I think it's really just those 4. I could see maybe an Ant coming in there and being a dark horse, but at the end of the day, I think it's those 4 who you're looking at, and I don't really see anybody anytime soon. Maybe a Wembanyama, but I still think Wemby's 1 year away from actually contending for an MVP. I think he will be definitely top 10 in MVP, possibly top 5 if he clinches that 5th spot. I just don't see him getting those votes over your main 4 of Jokic, Shai, Luka, Giannis. I think those 4 are kind of clear and cut, especially without Tatum. Those 4 are kind of in a tier of their own in just players in the league, and then it's kind of everybody else. So I think those 4 are going to be the main names you hear, and then you're going to have outside names, including a Wemby and Ant, guys like that. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you guys think Shai will go back-to-back, or do you think voters fatigue, they're not going to let it happen, they're going to give Luka his first, maybe Giannis gets back in the conversation, maybe we see somebody that I didn't even talk about win the MVP, like a Wemby or an Ant? Let me know down below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about the lefty J-Dub. Do you think that will be something that he will actually add in real time, or is this just kind of something that's happening in the off season? But let me know down below what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.